Pokemon. It's a series of games that seem to get worse with each new entry. There are many different fan types of the Pokemon series. The competitive battler, the Pokedex completionist, the shiny hunter, and the casual player. But there is a part of the community which not many people are familiar with, and that is Pokemon fan game. Pokemon fan game creators create Pokemon games that are unlike any of the main series games. They use their inner creativity to create things that were unthinkable in any main series Pokemon. I've been experimenting with my own Pokemon fan game and learning the ins and outs of the game engine for the last 2 years, but I've never shared anything publicly. That's when I decided to make a Pokemon game in 1 week. Is it possible to make a Pokemon game in a short amount of time period? Let's hop down the rabbit hole into the journey of me making a Pokemon game in 1 week. Also, this video will spoil the entire game, so if you haven't played the game, play it in the description and then come back and watch the video. Okay. You might be wondering, why did I do this to myself? Putting myself under insane stress in order to complete a game? Well, the answer is motivation. A small game jam was set up by a team of Pokemon fan game creators. Their names were Thundarga, Endless, Deadbed, Melisapod User, Voltion, and Lux Diablo. They gave a 1 week period to make a game, and some of them were competing in the jams themselves. This gave me insane motivation to try and make something better than what they had made, and what I have ever made. This jam will be referred to as the Pog Jam during the course of this video. Day 1. The start of the jam. I needed to come up with an idea that was sort of unique and I could revolve the entire game around. You think I would go for the typical 8 gym setup? Are you crazy? We don't do that here in the fan game community. I decided to make a level-based game, revolving around Pokemon being hidden away in different levels and you having to find them. It's a Pokemon hide-and-seek game in simple terms. I started by downloading tile sets from Thundarga's fan game, Go-Go Golisopod 2, which I'd gotten permission from him for. We started making the hub world map, Seeking Plains. We also made the 3 worlds using recolored versions of the trees, blue for World 1, yellow for World 2, and red for the final world. We also made little previews of each level in the world so that the player would know what this level's theme was. We changed the player's sprites to become a Herdia because it's one of my favorite Pokemon, and we added a bunch of different Pokemon so that the player could play as more than one Pokemon. We then coded the intro sequence, plotted the ideas for the first 2 levels, and now it's the end of the first day. Day 2. It's a new day, and it's time to start making the game mechanics. We made a prototype menu for the shop where you would buy the other Pokemon and the swapper where you would swap your Pokemon. If you aren't aware, there would be coins in different levels which would be used to buy other Pokemon in the Pokemon shop. We then chose the different Pokemon to revolve around different HMs, or hidden machines, required in Pokemon games. And here's what we came up with. We came up with Herdia can chase a Lillipup, Farfetch can cut small trees, Golem can break rocks, Starmie can surf on water, Scrafty can climb rocks, Pinsir can push boulders, Mismagius can clear blood. We also added a cool Pikachu with an outfit just so that the player could look cool if they wanted to. By the evening of day 2, I had made the first level of the game. I wanted it to be fairly linear and simple for a new player to the game. We then made the timer event and the blackout for when the timer runs out, and now is the end of the second day. I decided that on day 3, we would be making full levels. Levels are going to be a lot of the longest parts of making this game. We ended up making the entirety of World 1 playable by the end of day 3. Here are the levels we ended up making. We ended up finishing off the first level, Blossoming Bluffs, with a few polishes. We made a map called Frenzy Forest, Grapple Grotto, Cave Map, Furious Marsh, a little swamp-themed map, Shell Stream, a map revolving around a river, and Fort Cobalt, the first boss fight map. We added the boss fight of Fort Cobalt for a bit of variety in the game. And that was the end of day 3. Halfway done through the challenge. Day 4 was another day for making levels and expanding the storyline of the game. We added an intro sequence where Stoutland talks about the villain, the Pograt, and what he's doing to the Pokemon in these hidden levels. We added some extra events with Stoutland and Lillipup. Lillipup runs the Poke Shop, and which tells the player about the enemy bases that exist in this game. We used the rest of the day just creating more levels. We finished most of World 2 by the end of day 4. We ended up finishing the following levels: Malevolent Mesa, a desert-themed level; Og Isle, an island-themed beach sort of level thing. I don't really know what it is. Freaky Forest, a haunted forest level; and Marmalade Subway, a nice little train level that revolves humans. Also, something else to note. On this day, I scrapped my first level of the game, Dry Bake Ruins. A good ruins tile set was something that was too hard to come by under the insane time limit stress. And that was the end of day 4. Hey, if you're still watching the video, please consider subscribing. I make a lot of variety content on Pokemon games and other series. I'm trying to grow a fan base on my own, so if you could subscribe and share this video to a friend who likes Pokemon games, it would help me out a lot. Alright, back to the video. We started off day 5, and the stress of the nearing deadline of the Pog Jam 2 was affecting a lot of the other contestants. I was far ahead of schedule, so I wasn't too stressed about the deadline. Anyways, we skipped the boss level in World 2 and began construction on World 3. I wanted World 3 to be a love letter to the organizers' past Pokemon fan games that I really enjoyed playing through. So I re-downloaded Pokemon Splice and Summer Trials, and Mount Fuego and Lumagen City and made it fit the game. This took forever to do as I was using different tiles to the ones used in all of these games. So I changed my tile set in Pokemon Splicers and had to remake almost all of the maps. By the end of the day, I'd finished Lumagen Labs, Leaking Lava Lake, and I had remade most of the first world with the new tile set. Day 6 was the day I scrapped 2 levels. I scrapped Flickering Factory and Dangerous Department Store. Because of me switching to the Splice tile set, these levels were impossible for me to make by the deadline, and having enough time to bug fix. I ended up making Snow-Capped Mountain and the 2 remaining boss levels in the later worlds, and that was all the mapping needed. I copied the game mechanics into the levels, made a title screen, a credit sequence, and I had finished my game, with 1 day to spare. Time for bug fixing. It was the final day of the Pog Jam 2. I woke bright and early and began bug testing the games. The day was reserved for fixing any major problems that were encountered by me. I had to play test everything, do all the events, coins, 100%ing the levels, buying everything, bumping into every wall, etc. It took me just over 5 hours to 100% the game after all the bug fixes had been resolved. I wish I could tell you all the bugs I had to patch, but the video would be way too long for my liking. At the end of the day, I turned in my game and I went to bed, awaiting results during the following week. Oh boy, this game was really fun to develop. I tried to keep the script as spoiler-free as I could, but for a developing summary, you kind of have to give minor spoilers here and there. If you want to play the game yourself, the download link will be in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Also, a huge thanks again to the Pog Jam 2 co-ordinators for organising this event. I had huge amounts of fun making this game and playing the other fan games that were developed. Their channels will be in the description below.